Please state your name for the record.
Eddie Garcia, resident of Nashville, Tennessee. Buenos días, me llamo Eddie Garcia y estoy orgulloso en ser un ciudadano americano desde que tenía 3 años. Pero tengo más orgullo de participar con ustedes aquí hoy en la democracia de nuestro país sin la asistencia de un traductor. For those who didn't understand my Spanish, I've spoken with many emergency personnel and first responders. Imagine yourselves on our roadways, and the expectation of being in an everyday environment where you can't understand, just like you probably couldn't understand me today, presents too great of a risk for our motorists and our families that are driving on our roads in Tennessee. My name is Eddie Garcia. I'm a proud American who at the age of 3 came to the United States legally with my parents for a better life for me. In the early 70s, we chose to live in Boston, in an area of Boston where my dad practiced engineering. We were proud and very happy to be in our new country. I'm proud and have worked very hard to be able to understand English as a child, well enough to participate in our American democracy as I am here today. As a little boy, I remember my parents telling me about a new country that would give us tremendous opportunities, especially for me. A realistic chance at making my dreams come true as well as theirs. But I also remember them saying there's a country of hard work, dedication, perseverance, and the list goes on to really achieve the American dream of success. I don't speak for any immigrant group, any organization, any ethnicity, or any other group whatsoever. I speak for myself as with my experience as an immigrant in this new country and as a child. One of the proudest moments of my life was standing alongside my parents in the United States District Court where we took our oath of citizenship. The wave of pride was not just because I wanted and I became a U.S. citizen, but I was able to understand the judge as that judge swore all of us into citizenship. As I looked over to my parents whose sacrifices and pains to getting me to the United States was done unselfishly, their tears were of joy, their smiles were of extreme accomplishment, and the twinkle in their eyes reflected the bright colors of the United States flag that hung in that courtroom. It is difficult to learn a new language, I know. At the age of 3, I began to learn English by watching a black and white television set that my parents purchased. By 4 years of age, I was accompanying my dad to the bank to translate for him. By the time I started kindergarten, I was able to quickly assimilate, make friends, and do quite well in my class. All because I spoke English. For the record, let me say that learning English, or enduring that time of learning it, never affected my native tongues. I speak Spanish and Italian. Never affected my culture, nor did it affect my heritage. But the difficulty of learning a new language cannot be an excuse to give up. Giving up is not what America is about. As Americans, we possess an uncanny ability to continue onward. Since I started elementary school in a suburb of Boston, I know what the struggles are for an immigrant. I was a latchkey student. For many of those who don't know what a latchkey student is, I wore the key to my parents' house in a necklace. The responsibility was mine. I went to school way after they went to work. I returned home way before they came back from work. I'm grateful that my parents decided to come to the United States. I'm grateful that they worked hard, and I am very grateful that they realized that we needed to learn English in order to succeed in our country. At the very core of achieving success is the unequivocal fact that knowing and understanding English lays the foundation for a promising future in this country. A future to earn a decent living and a future to provide a better life for the next generation. This bill is about safety. Safety on our roads. A lot of people forget that driving is a privilege. It is not a right. From the basic examples of written signs on our roads, and there's a litany of them, slippery when wet, extended green light, hearing impaired children, and the list goes on. I've heard dozens of stories from emergency personnel, whether it's EMT, firefighters, or police department personnel, that the expectation when they pull over a vehicle or try to provide assistance, that expectation of having the ability to speak English is taken for granted. I've heard from many of them that, yes, it does help them. In a motor vehicle accident or in a situation where police officers lawfully stop someone, literally it's seconds, if not minutes, that determine life or death. To place a barrier when the expectation that someone driving that vehicle with the kids to soccer or elsewhere, that there is a problem with language because they have been given the opportunity to take this examination in another language, presents too great a danger. Others will say that requiring English to be the only language for this test will hinder or discourage foreign investment or companies from expanding in our great state. We all know that companies wanting to come to the United States and Tennessee come because of American ingenuity. They come because of the work ethic of Americans, and that states like Tennessee are ready and willing to provide tax rebates, credits, and other economic development incentives to get that company here. All in all, that company comes to provide Tennesseans jobs, and that's a good thing. To speak with facts and not rhetoric, several weeks ago, I contacted a corporate communications executive at Volkswagen in Herndon, Virginia. My question was, how many executives, researchers, or scientists from Germany or abroad come to Tennessee, in the case of the Chattanooga plant, that don't speak English? On January 29, 2010, in a written email from Mr. Wilson in Volkswagen, he replied, Mr. Garcia, all of our workers who come to the Chattanooga plant from around the world are bilingual, English being their second language. Incidentally, since Nissan's here today, I also looked at Nissan. Nissan recognizes the importance of taxi drivers in metropolitan Nashville to be proficient in English, so much that Nissan funded the first program, Taxi Pro, to the tune of $15,000. This mandatory program will teach taxi drivers etiquette, what constitutes a polite gesture, acceptable small talk in English, and a mandatory passing grade in an English competency exam enough to enroll. Without that, they would not be able to participate in that class. Clearly, Nissan and the Chamber see the indisputable fact and the value of knowing English for the taxi drivers to earn a great living. Why would it be any less for moms and dads taking their children to and from the store? In closing, this committee is comprised of small business owners, an owner of a transportation company, a firefighter EMT, and some of you are in law enforcement or were. So if people in charge of other businesses and other airlines, shipping, and trucking, which all accept English as their common language, why would we lessen that opportunity for families transporting one of life's most precious cargo, human beings? Again, this isn't an issue of race, ethnicity, origin, revenue for any one company, or any other rhetorical argument. Es solamente la importancia para asegurar nuestras calles en el estado de Tennessee. It is simply the importance of all to adhere to safety, to take this exam in English so that there's no questions on the road. Thank you for your time.